Honorable dignitaries, respected professors, faculty colleagues, dear participants, staffs and students of IIT Roorkee, on the occasion of International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction, the Center of Excellence in Disaster Mitigation and Management IIT Roorkee and the South Asia Alliance of Disaster Research Institutes wholeheartedly welcome you all for the Field Expedition and Training Program Disaster Management Action Frontiers from 10th to 13 October 2020. With this welcome note, I request the honorable dignitaries, chief guests, and organizers to take their respective chairs at the dais. I welcome Professor M.L. Sharma, Dean Finance and Planning, IIT Roorkee, to kindly take your chair, followed by Professor D.S. Arya, Dean Administration, IIT Roorkee, followed by Dr. Arijit Roy, Head Scientist G, Disaster Management Science Department, IIRS, Professor Sumit Sen, CoEDMM, IIT Roorkee, and Professor Mahua Mukherjee, Secretary General, Sadri, Professor Anil Kumar Gupta, Professor at NIDM, and Dr. Himanshu Kulkarni, Head and Founding CEO of Aquadam Pune, to take their respective chairs at the dais. Now, I am handing over the stage to Ms. Chanda Kumari, who is the lead comparer of the event, to take care of the stage. Welcome you all, and thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sri Krishnan. A very warm and pleasant good morning to one and all present here. I, Chanda Kumari, doctorate scholar, once again welcome you here in this auspicious gathering. Now moving ahead, I would request Professor Sumit Sen, Head CoEDMM, IIT Roorkee, to firstly welcome our honorable guest, Professor M.L. Sharma, Dean Finance and Planning, and Professor Earthquake Engineering, to please present a bouquet to him. A very warm welcome to you, Professor M.L. Sharma. I further request Professor Sen to please present the bouquet to Dean Professor D.S. Arya, Dean Administration, IIT Roorkee. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Now I request Professor Mahua Mukherjee, Secretary General, Sadri, and former head of CoEDMM, IIT Roorkee, to welcome Dr. Arijit Roy, Head Disaster Management Support Program, IIRS Israel. A very warm welcome to you, sir. I further request Professor Mahua Mukherjee to welcome Dr. Himanshu Kulkarni, Head and Founding CEO.
I think it's on the way.
Yeah, sure. I would love to, yeah. Please welcome Professor Anil Kumar Gupta. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. As this is the inaugural session, we will begin by taking blessings from the Almighty. May I request all the dignitaries on the dais to please come forward and light the auspicious lamp.
Okay.
Let's pray to God that we may continue to burn the auspicious light that may bring in happiness, prosperity, and healthy long life to people and around the world. After lighting the lamp, now it's time for a cool geek. I request the audience to kindly stand in their respective position. I request everyone to kindly take their seat. taking the event forward. We are extremely delighted with the presence of Professor M.L. Sharma, Dean Finance and Planning, Professor in Earthquake Engineering Department, IIT Roorkee. I request him to kindly inaugurate this event and address the August gathering. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, my colleagues, students, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to seeing this event happening because when Professor Shiva started this, I was equally excited because this is a little different kind of event. You know, nowadays, our perspective towards the life, it has changed. We are now more concerned. And because of this, to look into the disaster reduction, that has also changed. Earlier, we were doing work in silos. Now it has become multidisciplinary, multi-hazard. Earlier, we were doing and using the words resistance kind of thing. Now we are using resilient. Earlier we were giving the solutions to the problem, and now we say that solutions must be sustainable. So these kinds of things, they have cropped in. And at this point of time, when everything is developed, why not to go one step further? And that is to go to the field, to hear from the experts from different expertise. So this disaster management action frontiers, this is really a word, I mean punching word, which I liked the way you have placed it, and I wish all the success for this. Nowadays, my motto and my aim in giving such kind of things to people like you is ask questions. In this course also, I request all of you to make it more interactive. Ask questions, because believe me, we will not be giving the lectures only, but we will be learning from you. And same is the case in the field. Ask questions when you are in field, not only to your mentors, to your lecturers, but to the nature itself, because it has got a different language, which the nature wants to communicate to you. Ask those questions. Why? Why this rock is here? Why this fault is here? Why? What kind of ecosystem for hydrology that is there? So when you are asking questions, you will be searching the solutions also. And during the discussions, you may find the solutions. So with these words, because I've come to know that we are all having only 5 minutes for us, I wish all the success for you, and thanks the organizers for inviting me here, because I can see a lot of dynamism on your faces. So thank you very much, and wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, sir. I welcome Dr. Himanshu Kulkarni, Head and Founding CEO, Advanced Center for Water Resource Development and Management. A huge and warm welcome to you, sir. As we all know, IIT Roorkee is celebrating 175 years of imparting technical knowledge and contribute in the development of the society. Indeed, it's a proud moment for all of us. Now I request Professor D.S. Arya, Dean Administration IIT Roorkee, to come forward and share some insights about the 175-year celebration of IIT Roorkee. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Sabhi ko namaskar. First of all, I welcome all the participants dignitaries on the dais, to this institute. And as Sumit has asked me to speak something about 175 years legacy of this institute, it will be good to know how many of you know the history of IIT Roorkee. Raise your hands. See, Sumit, I don't have to speak about 175 years. They all know.
Yes.
Yeah. How many of you know where the civil engineering was started? How many of you know which was the second oldest engineering institution in the world? Yeah, see, I see one or two hands. See, this legacy was started. Okay, one more thing. When the observations, I'm talking about the climate observations, temperature, rainfall, etc., when was it started? Now, nobody will raise the hand except Piyush. Yeah, I know you will raise this hand. 1857. 1857, the first observatory was established in France. And this institute started in 1847, 10 years before the observations were started. You think about when they planned it. The institute started its journey from 1847 after the construction of the Upper Ganges Canal. And this particular year started from 25th November 2021 to 24th November 2022. We are celebrating the 175th year of the establishment. The best part is this 1 year we have invested in establishing the brand IITR. And to establish this brand IITR, we have taken up so many activities in this year. Just to, walk through the memory lanes, let me tell you, the institute started in 1847. Until 1854, it was known as the Civil Engineering Roorkee College, Roorkee Civil Engineering College. And in 1854, it became Thomason College of Civil Engineering and continued to be like this until 1947, when it became University of Roorkee, the first technical university, the second engineering institution in the world, well, first in Asia, it is there. And then in 2001, it became a full-fledged IIT Roorkee. We were also offered to be the first IIT by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the then Prime Minister. But that time, University of Roorkee was having a very high status, and the governor that time and the chief minister of Uttar Pradesh said, no, it is a jewel in our crown, so we won't be giving it to you. So that's how we continued that journey. But in 2001, again, we accepted it, and we became the 7th IIT of this country. But friends, let me tell you, until 1920, we continued as civil engineering. Then the military engineering was taken away. And one more college in Pune was established, known as Military Engineering Services. So whatever was left, it was the civil engineering. And that's how the civil engineering started. So it is the root here at IIT Roorkee. So civil engineering was born here at IIT Roorkee. So this is the legacy we are having. And since then, we have been contributing in the field of civil engineering like anything. You name a place where civil engineering is required, you will see that University of Roorkee or IIT Roorkee or Thomason College of Engineering experts will be there always. You will see our footprint everywhere. So friends, I can speak more about this history, but Sumit has given only 5 minutes to us. So within that 5 minutes, I have to really complete this talk. So this particular year, we have started many activities. The students has taken up many activities like in NSS, then again in NCC, many activities that could reach our outreach to the people outside. Similarly, every department has organized conferences, international conferences, so that people know our legacy of 175 years, so that we feel very proud of it. See, 175 years is a very long time. So we must feel that we are very proud of the institute where we are. And you should also, as participant, you are coming to the institute which is 175-year-old. Then there are special events where the teams from IIT Roorkee are visiting various countries. They have gone to Nepal, they have gone to France, they have gone to Sri Lanka, they have gone to Ethiopia, they have gone to Canada, America to organize 175 years and to tell people, look, we are there. So we must be visible. These days, it's very important that you should be visible. If you are visible, then only you are taken, you are noticed. So this is very important. And in commemoration, we also have from Government of India, we got 175 rupees coin, which will be launched very soon, and a commemorative stamp also. So there are so many activities. Please go and visit our website and you will come to know more. Thank you very much, Sumit. And I wish you and your team a very successful course or whatever lectures are there. And to the participants, enjoy your time here. Try to, explore every possible thing that is happening at IIT Roorkee and enjoy your time. By chance, the weather is beautiful. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Arya, for your kind words. Indeed, we are also proud to be a part of IIT Roorkee. Now, next, I would like to call Professor Anil Kumar Gupta, NITM, to please address the August gathering. Over to you, sir.
Very good morning. Namaste. So, first of all, this beautiful campus and 175 years, that is a great feeling. So, this is also very important that this is I think the first IIT that has taken up a specific center on disaster management. So this is also a special feather in the cap. So I must compliment all the faculty members, all research scholars or officers and the students of IIT campus, directly or indirectly associated. I have several good friends here sitting on the dais, off the dais, and they have been creating a lot of impact all over the globe. The subject of disaster management, as we all know, and it has been spoken by my previous speakers also, that we are talking about multi-hazard scenario. But when we are to focus on multi-hazard issues, then there is a big risk. Sometimes the risk is of compartmentalization. So then the other version of the same thing, that is interdisciplinarity. And the third version, that is of transdisciplinarity. And these are the three things, three new focus on in the disaster studies. So multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and transdisciplinary. Although there is little bit difference in all the three, and that is also very important. Now I have just 2-3 points here. Certainly the 5 minutes is the time limit. So one very important aspect we should keep in mind now. As we all have witnessed, whenever I come here, past 2-3 years, 4 years, I enjoy the e-rickshaw drive also. I think before 2020, in Indian roads, it was very rare to see electric vehicles. Now, very often, anywhere you get electric vehicles. So, what it tells that when the transformation comes, it comes very fast. And past a decade or so, we are in a phase of very, very serious and very fast transformation in areas of disruptive technology. Robotics is going to be very, very common. It is becoming common, and COVID period has also shown that how our life has been sometimes confined with our electrical systems, electronic systems. We were not having computers, but basically we were within the computers or within our electric gadgets. And this is going to increase. So how are we looking at the disaster risks and also the disaster risk solutions in the new technical world of the future? Because we are now talking about the Vision 2047 also. So how are we going to look at the different levels of risk in the new regime of technology? But it is not only the disruptive changes in technology, it is also going to bring disruptive changes in the social setting also. We are familiar, we are talking to each other, just even sometimes sitting beside through our mobile gadgets and rather than in person. We seldom know our neighbors, more particularly in metro cities. So I was talking to Dr. Mahua. She lost her phone a few days back and she says that she is enjoying this life without having a telephone, that how one would feel. So sometimes it has become a rare phenomenon. So this is very important that we look at disruptive changes which are inevitable, which are imperative, and then we revisit the disaster risk and resilience. And COVID has shown us that we should also be ready for black swan events. There's something which never happened can happen. So the COVID has shown. Not only COVID, but COVID period was also a period of complex emergencies. We had a series of industrial accidents also. We also had a major locust attack, and that was relatively quite bigger as compared to past incidences, and that has some other way direct climate connections also. So I think these are the kind of lessons that we should be ready to some kind of, that we in chemical engineering we sometimes call it maximum credible accident analysis, something which we believe that it's very, very rarest, but is still believed to be possible, something like that. So that is very important. Then another message particularly to the research scholars are the scholars who are developing their the research plan. That we should not ignore now in the disaster management the lower order risk, which often we tend to ignore because the primary emphasis is on catastrophic scenarios or the worst case scenarios. Because these lower order risks are the sometimes either the trigger events or the major contributing factors that create cascading effects and finally built up into a catastrophic scenario. So, but how do we integrate into the risk assessment process? I think that's very, very important aspect that we need to look at. If you recall the Kolkata, the flyover failure or the Mumbai footover bridge, I think each and every such kind of incident has already given some kind of early warnings in terms of the lower order mishaps, small mishaps. Bhopal disaster also, just 6 months before the Bhopal gas tragedy took place, there was a small leakage of the phosgene gas, and one person has died. And that was an early warning that something is going wrong in the maintenance system, something going wrong, or something faulty with the safety system, something like that. So that's very important. So we have to now also look at the economic cost of environmental losses. The cyclones that uproot the acres of the forest trees. What is the economic cost? What is the livelihood, the kind of implications? And then when these disasters cause business disruptions, what is the economic cost? I think we tend to look at the economic cost of only major disasters, catastrophic ones, but we have not really looked at, because yesterday only I was reading that just the road traffic accidents 1 year, 2021, it was more around somewhere around 2.7 or something. This percentage, around 3% economic loss to GDP, and total disaster economic loss by total other disasters, we say 2%. Here, only by traffic accident, it was 3%. So I think this is also an eye-opener fact we have to look at. Then the last one, that when we are talking about enhancing the capacities, we are 138 crores now. If we say that we have to train at least 1 in 10 persons, then it is 13.8 crores. Can we do that? How do we do? It is imperative. We need to do that. In fact, we have to train all 138 crores. But if not 10% of it, if not 1% of it, but how would we do that? I think the network approach is required. We have to work together. And the universities like IITs, other institutions, sectoral institutions, all have to come forward, all have to work together. And we are very happy that we are now working in a consortium mode. So once again, my compliments to IIT Roorkee and all the members associated with IIT Roorkee, directly or indirectly. And congratulations on this wonderful initiative. On the DRR week, that we'll be having few more tomorrow, day after tomorrow, several lectures will be there, and it will help inculcate a culture of safety. I think that's very important. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Gupta, for your valuable words. May I now request Professor Sumit Sen, Head CoEDMM IIT Roorkee, to introduce our center. Over to you, sir.
So meanwhile, we will start our presentation. Just it's a 5 minutes. As people have most of the people have mentioned my name about 5 minutes. I'll also try to take 5 minutes. It's just about just to say and express our gratitude for all the participants who are coming. Not only from India, we have a couple of participants coming from Nepal. So we would like to really thank all the participants as well as all the dignitaries and special chief guests who came from different parts of the country. And not along with the chief guest and the speakers, I'm also thankful to all our faculty on campus who have joined. I know it is a teaching day, and people have taken out some time to come out, especially Professor Chakraparni, Professor Brijesh Yadav, and Professor Ankit, and Professor Ashutosh, who has been joined to attend this session. And just to give a very brief presentation or a message about our center. So, all right. So this is our event basically, and just to give you a very brief idea about the center. Center basically stands on 4 pillars of disaster management. Basically, it talks about the mitigation, preparedness, and management and the recovery part of it. And if you see our logo, which is basically recently been developed, it's about we are, as Professor Gupta just mentioned, that we all need to be trained, and we have a mandate to train our citizens for different disasters which are happening. And disasters could be your earthquake, the landslides, the extreme events are occurring, flooding happening. So we need to basically develop our citizens to get and be trained and be aware about those disasters and how to mitigate and how to manage our resources. So based on that, basically our center started in 2006. We have around 17, 18 joint faculty coming from different departments, be it from architecture going up to the management side. So we have different faculties coming and working in the different aspects of the disaster. We do also have now 3 core faculties who are sitting in a center and working on a very specific disaster areas. And we do have a PG program, Masters and PhD program. And we are fortunate to have a very strong research program in terms of our students. They are really doing good, and they are really publishing in a very well peer-reviewed journals currently. We do also have a very strong partnership in terms of public and private. As Professor Gupta is here, we do have a strong MOU with NITM, NDMA. We are trying to work on it, and GIDM. So there are different disaster management, Uttarakhand State Disaster Management Authority. So we are working with a very strong organizations who are working towards implementing different disaster management techniques on the field. And that's where we work, and our students get exposed to different managements. We have been a member of GATRI, as well as we also had a center, basically the secretariat for the SATRI group, where Professor Mohra is going to give you a very brief idea about the SATRI, what is a SATRI about. Talking about the research, basically we are not only, we are from the technical side of our institution, but we also touch a lot of areas of social science, be it from the cloud management, risk management, humanitarian supply chain management. So we are also working on the technical side. There is flood modeling, we have forest fires, people working on, Professor Kumar working on the forest fires. So, and then we have atmospheric sciences area. So we will cover the physical and the natural sciences as well as the social sciences of the department. There are just a brief idea about some of the very key words coming out from our masters and PhD students, and they're touching pretty much all the disaster areas of our what we are really focusing on: risk building, urban flooding, fire. We have been touching that. As I said, that we have joint faculty coming from different departments, so we have a strength not only from the structural side, the engineering side. We do have all the. So we have climatology, we have hydrology, very strong. We have meteorological side of it. We do also have a very strong footprint in the biochemical and the biohazards area. where we are faculty from the bioscience by Professor Ranna Pathania, who is working very corely in the biohazards area, which is very, very strongly coming out nowadays. So we do have a very strong nowadays, like we have a legacy of running a very long-term, the first of its kind, the earthquake early warning system for Uttarakhand state. That is one of our key projects which have been centers have been holding it for almost 10 years or 6 years, so 8 years. So, and then now with the new faculty, basically we are also developing the vulnerability risk management for the Himalayan geohazards area. So there are a lot of work going on in the center. Just a very quick, just the points. Earthquake early warning system is one of its own kind. We are running it. We are also with Professor Sri Krishnan heading this landslide early warning system which has been funded by the ISRO disaster management program. We do also have different other program, support program through numerical models towards landslide prediction. And as I said, Professor Ranna Pathania is also working on the antimicrobial activity, basically the biohazards area. So there are areas where we are really working on, and this is a glimpse of our earthquake early warning system. Basically, we do have an app for the people to have it on it, and then the early warning system, they send a signal. If there is any trigger of any earthquake, so they send a signal and it has a lead time. And things have been really very in a practical mode. It has detected various earthquakes which has happened in the earthquake Uttarakhand region. This is the latest project which we have been, Professor Sri Krishnan is basically working on to improve the predictive capacity of ISRO Territorial early warning system for landslides, which we have recently got approved and we started working on. This is a recent project which with our students, Shivani, working with Professor Mowa, as well as Professor Annie from University of Boston, under the project Co-Prepare, where we, and the student is basically looking into developing a long-term recovery sort of the database towards natural disaster. And she has been doing a lot of field work and collecting a lot of data. This will be its own kind of the data, which will really stay there for a long time. How the people have recovered, how cope up, how the local villages have coped up from the different disasters. So this is a very, very strong and supported by the Co-Prepare project. Another area of our work, I'll stop there. Basically, it is again, we all been talking about climate variability, extreme events. So with Professor Piyush Srivastav and collaborating with other team members from IIT Roorkee. So he will be also focusing on different extremes and how the weather forecasting can be done on a very high resolution, on temporal as well as on the spatial resolution, so that we can predict what is happening in the atmospheres. So I'll stop here. So there are very few things. The only one thing I would like to mention here is, not taking much time, we are going to host the IDDRR 2023. IDDRR is one of the conference which is being supported by the Japan Society. And we will be hosting it 2023 in October, November next year. And we are happy to, would like to have you again coming back to the campus. I'll stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Sen, for letting us know the details about our center. May I now request Professor Mahua Mukherjee, Secretary General SADRI, former head CoEDMM, to kindly brief us about the SADRI. Over to you, ma'am.
Very good morning, dignitaries on the dais and friends who have given me this privilege to talk about the SADRI. Thanks, Sumit. SADRI is South Asia Alliance for Disaster Research Institutes. Can we go for it? Yeah, and it is something I think already we have heard about networking. Dr. Gupta has already mentioned. This is having a very strong focus on the vulnerable area of the entire Earth. You can see the South Asia, which is the most vulnerable zone in the world. So what we have tried to understand here, whether we can come together, because it's not only institutional approaches, knowledge building, it's also dissemination, it's also sharing. as we are having very similar type of geopolitical and also our socio-economical status very similar. So we thought whether we can come together. So it's a very new approach, I will say, because as COVID was there in between, though we got a wonderful start, we started with the first JKML lecture, which was being delivered by Dr. P.K. Mishra, and Mami Mizuturi, even here at SRSG, she was there. Our director, Dr. A.K. Chaturvedi, announced about our SADRI. But after that, it was a very slow pace movement, as all of us, we have really experienced this COVID backlash. We have a set objectives. Everything is available on our SADRI name. If you can go through it, you will see that everywhere we are talking about how we can help each other, how we can bring our knowledge together on the same platform, whether it is data sharing, whether it is internship. These are the things we have tried to do here. SADRI is being guided by Board of Directors. Board of Directors are having the executive committee. We are also having members, individual expert members from 5 member countries, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, India, and Sri Lanka. And in addition to that, we are having the institutional representations from these SADRI countries. In addition to that, we have the experts in our Board of Directors from 5 different countries, China, Taiwan, Japan, and that's the way SADRI is trying to make some impact. We are learning a lot through these exchanges. We have the executive members, you can see here, and we have a very, very well documented charter. And that charter helps us to go forward again, like our objectives, whether we are meeting our objectives, we try to check our activities against this charter. Any new member, everyone is actually welcome to apply for SADRI memberships. We have several different kinds of membership. You please check that. We are working in a slightly, I will say, channelized mode, because as you understand, 5 different countries are the SADRI member countries, and also the experts are coming. Now we are having members from 12 countries. So how to really make sure that we can create impact? We are having working groups. Individually, working groups are looking at the geotechnical issue, hydromet issues, critical infrastructure, and community participation. And the 5th and most important for me is the nature-based. So that's the way we are working. And some of the results we can see that when we are becoming partners in different knowledge partner or co-organizer for different type of conferences, already we have been to that. I will like to mention at least one, the GRIFFIP Summit, where Professor Emil Sharma was being invited as a plenary speaker. And we also have our first international SADRI training program that was an online program. It was organized by Professor Raju Sharkar from Delhi Technical University. And people from different parts of the world, they participated in this. It's on the early warning system in the geotech part. And we also, IDRRR already, Sumit has mentioned, we were part of the IDRRR 2021 and 2022 as well. I would also like to mention here, before I forget, I have a section for the young professionals. Already Shivani had been part of another IDRRR talk, Comfortable Talk, and Pankaj will be the next speaker of the IDRRR Comfortable. So that's a wonderful way our young professionals are also being connected. And this is slightly different, but again, I am thankful to Professor Gaurav, Head of Architecture Planning, for providing us the space, Professor Sumit Sen for providing us the funding. This is another initiative of SADRI towards the low carbon. It is also with the UK and Bangladesh. And it is, you can go to the lawn of architecture planning. You can see that it's outside. It is very coveted space for the students. I heard that it is actually students are waiting in queue to celebrate their birthdays. So they are really making it a successful space. So that's very good. Now come to the publications. We are already trying to contribute because that is our mainstream strength, you can say, because the disaster research institutes are coming together. So we have tried to contribute in the UNDRR whenever we have some opportunities. We already have our publication, peer-reviewed publication. 5 different country experts have contributed in this, where 5 cities and the scope for the nature-based solution was being looked at. Right now, we are also having another publication in pipeline that is from the critical infrastructure group. Again, 5 different country partners are working in that. And this is one particular publication which I brought separately. This is a status report developed by the critical infrastructure group. I'm very, very proud to share it with you. You can see Dr. Marco here in between. He is the UNDRR Asia Pacific Executive Director, also the APSTAC co-chair, and Professor Rajiv Shaw. In presence of these 2 co-chairs, we have been able to inaugurate our report in this recently held APMC DRR. In the APMC DRR also, we have been able to mark our presence from the SADRI, from IIT Roorkee, from both the sides. And we also met our SADRI members there, 4 or 5 members, they were there. And we had it's a wonderful learning actually, I think, which matches with Shiva's these initiatives, learning by doing. So they had the visit to places where the event happened, and then they explained it. And also there were learning labs where we took part to learn something new. And this is the last slide probably, or at least the last topic, I believe, SADRI Young Professional Platforms, because this was the very much in the core of the SADRI objective to facilitate the young professionals of the South Asia region. So we now have a young professionals group. Shiva is the coordinator, Avinay is here, he is the lead coordinator from the students side, Bihanga from Sri Lanka is the member. So now the group is like this, they are already working on the primary education intervention. So it's a very meaningful intervention, I believe they are going to contribute at. With this, I'd like to say thanks once again to give me this opportunity to talk about it. Thanks.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing the details about the SADRI. Now, may I please request Dr. Himanshu Kulkarni, Head and Founding CEO, Advanced Center for Water Resource Development and Management, to share his views. Over to you, sir.
So a very good morning to all of you. Dignitaries on the dais and my dear friends. I hadn't anticipated this, but because I think somebody watched me taking notes, so they thought I needed to speak something. You must have gathered that I haven't lost my habit of from my student days, so I like taking notes. I like writing fundamentally because it takes you away from your technology gadgets. It's a welcome deviation, and we got that gem from Professor Gupta. So I'm not going to take too long. I'm just going to flag 5 very important points that I learned in the brief interlude that I was here. First of all, apologies for being late, so I might have missed a few points. But I think these 5 points to me are very relevant as a student of many subjects. And I'll be, of course, talking to you a little later in detail about something which has been close to my heart, but which is also now spilling over into the domain of disasters. And that is the subject of groundwater. But more of that later. So the 5 points that I gathered from
this initial interaction. I'll just list them and stop. I think the first point is about the fact that disasters are not anymore isolated. There's a multiplicity of disasters, and there is, in a lot of disasters, there's a duality of disasters, and I'll come to that again when I speak to you a little later. And I think it's important to remember that, because that in itself, very often, as Professor Gupta tells us, leads to thinking in silos. So if we don't think of multiplicities, we won't be able to move out of those silos. The second point is the importance of the lower order. And as the world moves increasingly towards what I call as remarkability, we are always fascinated by something which is remarkable, something big, the Big Bang. That we are tending increasingly to forget the details. We are tending increasingly to forget the small things in life, in our day-to-day activities, but also in very, very critical events like disasters. Because I think events, especially in the natural system, are an aggregation of small pieces. And I think if you have to understand disasters in their large picture, in the big picture sense, we must pay attention to these details. So I really like that, the importance of the lower order. The third point I like is, and I again come back to what Sumit was telling us about the center, catalyzing collaboration. So I was about 3-4 months back at the UNESCO conference on groundwater in the month of May. And I don't know why I was invited there as a keynote speaker, but so be it. I think a lot of people were emphasizing the fact that we are not collaborating enough. We are not partnering enough. And I think one of the biggest challenges going into the next decade is how do you get academia, policy, and practitioners to work together? And I think this is true even of disasters. Now, how do we catalyze that collaboration? And maybe the center is perhaps a beginning. The genesis of healthy collaboration could be seeded at the center. Fourth is something again which came out of a lot of what was said before by all the speakers, including Professor Arya. I think we seek the reflection of the global in the local, where we want to bring local learnings into our work, global learnings into our work at the local scale. But then we should also question whether our local is reflected in the global. And I think that's the reason why I would also like to connect this to the importance of the lower order. So how do we connect the global and the local? And it has to be both ways. And I would like to leave you with the last part, which Professor Maua Mukherjee alluded to, which is in some ways different opportunities that are opening up. And I think it's really the opportunities that are opening up, opportunities as a consequence of the crisis that is facing us, or we are facing the crisis, whichever way you want to look at it, on one hand, but also the way the world is moving. The world is moving towards multidisciplinarity, interdisciplinarity, and transdisciplinarity. Whether we like it or not, I think we must embrace the concept of disciplinarities and also the concept of pluralities, which again I will come to a little later. And I think therein lies the opportunity to meet this challenge head on. And I'm sure this could be a good beginning. I am fortunate enough to have been invited to this gathering. And I must thank my friend Sumit for that. But I would certainly be here till whatever time permits. And as a student of this subject, I would really want to learn more than tell you too much from what I have to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor Kulkarni, for sharing your views. Indeed, it was great to listen to you. And you very well highlighted all the points which was said by the other speakers. Thank you so much, sir. Moving on, now it is time to propose vote of thanks. I request Professor Rupam Shukla to kindly come forward and propose vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Chanda. Honorable dignitaries, Professor M.L. Sharma, Dean Finance and Planning, IIT Roorkee, and also Professor in the Earthquake Engineering Department, Professor D.S. Arya, respected Dean Administration, IIT Roorkee, and also Professor in Hydrology, Professor Dr. Aditi Roy, Head of Disaster Management Support Program, IRS, ISRO, Dr. Himanshu Kulkarni, Head and Founding CEO of Aquadam, Professor Mahua Mukherjee, Secretary General Sabri, and former Head CoEDMM, Professor Sumit Singh, Head CoEDMM, and Professor Anil Gupta, Professor in IDM. It is a pleasure to have this honor of giving the vote of thanks. Here, I, on behalf of the organizing committee of the Disaster Management Action Frontiers and the entire CoEDMM and SADRI team, express my heartiest welcome to all who are gathered here today on this event, and I'm thankful to you all for your presence here. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation to all the dignitaries for inaugurating the session. Also, all the faculty members who are off the dais, Professor Chakrapani from Department of Earth Sciences, Professor Brijesh Kumar Yadav, Head Hydrology, Professor Ankit and Professor Ashutosh from the Hydrology Department. Thank you all for being here. I would like to express my sincere thanks to the 175-year celebration committee for sponsoring the event. We are indeed grateful for making this event possible for the center. I would also like to express my sincere thanks to the director of IIT Roorkee for providing the center with the constant encouragement and motivation to excel forward. And this event today is one of such example. Further, I'm also grateful to the head Biosciences and Bioengineering Department for their support with the venue here today. I'm also very grateful to the organizing committee member, Professor Sri Krishnan, Professor Piyush Srivastav, for their tireless effort in making this conference possible. Thank you so much. Many thanks to Professor and our head CoEDMM, Sumit Singh, for his constant and unlimited support to the conference. I would also like to acknowledge the support from the staff of the CoEDMM. Thank you so much to you all. Without your support, this event would have not been possible today. Moving on, I would like to acknowledge and gratitude our students who have been working tirelessly, not just in the days but nights, to make this arrangement and all the necessary arrangements. Thank you, beloved students. Last but not the least, to our technical support team for facilitating the live streaming and the hybrid event support. Thank you. We, the organizing team, wish you a wonderful start to this 3-day event. This conference is one of its kind. May you expand your learning horizon from all that's planned for you in these 3 days and make the most of the field expedition that is also planned. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Shukla, for your kind words. Now the high tea will be served outside. Kindly gather here at 10:20 a.m. for the further keynote lecture series. Thank you all.
Then what?
Pardon me.